To start, we don't have any school highlights tonight. Anyone signed up for public comment?
No one signed up.
Okay. We'll go to 3.01, roll call. Everyone but Brian Smith and Shanoa Emery are present. We may have some of them joining us later with the drive-in, but then move on to 3.02, approval of the agenda.
I move approval of the agenda.
There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Move on to disposition of business by consent.
I move the Board of Education approve business by consent, including payment of bills in the amount of $5,214,826.97.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. We'll move on to section 5, no administrator reports. So section 6, items for discussion. 6.01 is the GMP for Auburn Elementary.
Yep, got a couple of guests in the audience. Josh and Whitney are going to come up, so thank you both for being here.
All right. Thank you all. What you have before you tonight is the amendment for Auburn Elementary. It's probably old hat for several of you, so certainly willing to answer any questions you may have regarding the scope, timing, things of that nature. But to just give you a little update on how the bidding process went, we were pleased with the coverage we got. Averaged about 3 bidders per bid package. And then also to give you a little update on the local participation as well. Of the bid packages we had Topeka bidders on 13 of them. And let me see here. So total participation that could be achieved with local bidders is about $1 million on this job. With the pricing that we have in front of you and the low bidders, we're sitting a little over $700,000, so a little over 70% going to local bidders. We did present a few alternates for consideration to the facilities committee as well, if you wanted to increase that a little bit. But aside from that, we have the base bid of just over $2.2 million. There are 6 alternates to be considered. Again, those were discussed with the facilities committee. I'll defer to them for that further discussion, as well as a few possible add alternates to increase the local participation. But the intent would be to start with a portion of this work over spring break, with the bulk of the work starting over the summer. With everything wrapping up at the end of the summer. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
I don't have any questions. I would just say we had the facility committee meeting before this, and I think some of the alternates need to be considered for the board, and so, but everything looked really good, and excited for the Auburn community and for the school to get these improvements.
Be a nice facility.
For anybody that might be listening or watching online, so it's very common that we have alternates anytime we go through a guaranteed maximum price process. So many times I'll just write the motion with the guaranteed maximum price because that's what's coming in on the document that comes from the builder. In this case, through the facility committee meeting, there will be some alternatives that are added. So whoever reads the motion will say, and the addition of the alternative as discussed as a facility committee. So, yep, we're set.
Any other questions or comments?
Appreciate all your work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to 6.02, incoming board member Casey Johnson.
Yeah, so we just wanted to state publicly that Casey ran for the seat that was occupied by Jackie Lightcap. And as she announced that she wasn't able to come all the way to the close of her term, so she stopped just a few board meetings early. So the chair is sitting vacant. So I think that board leadership visited with Casey and said if you're available to come on a little bit early, the official incoming date is the second Monday in January. But I think at the board level, the conversation was silly to keep the chair vacant if you want to go ahead and come on in. So he's not able to join us this evening, but that's why that's a motion as an item for discussion. You'll see it later as an action item, and then he'll officially be a board member. We did ask or confirm that he's been sworn in at the Shawnee County Election Office, and he has been, so he's ready to go. So that was the conversation that took place. Is that an accurate summary?
Yep. Any other questions, comments on that?
Sounds good.
All right,
I didn't know in this case if he'd have to be sworn in twice since he's finishing up Jackie's term for 3 weeks or whatever,
Yeah,
but
yep. We can confirm that. yeah.
whatever. That's something I would ask, to make sure that he doesn't need to be sworn in twice.
yeah. All right, we'll move on to action item 7.01 is the guaranteed maximum price for Auburn Elementary School.
Okay, I'd move the Board of Education approve the guaranteed maximum price of $2,232,991 for the Auburn Elementary bond construction, as well as the alternates previously discussed in the facility meeting.
Second.
It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to 7.02, which is incoming board member Casey Johnson.
I move the Board of Education approve the appointment of Casey Johnson effective immediately.
Second?
It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. I will move on to 7.03, which is the 2026-2027 school calendar. So we presented that last time. Any follow-up questions or comments?
I'll make the motion. I've had a parent ask me about this too.
I
I
told
told
you,
her, I said, we'll vote on it tonight.
must be December.
Move the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
Second?
It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. I will move on to 7.04, which is K-12 Mastery 10 Standards for Mathematics.
That was presented at the last meeting, and the Learning Services team's actually in a conference first couple days of this week, so they're not here. I told them I would try to answer any questions if you had them.
I would move the Board of Education approve the presented standards as the official district curriculum for K-12 mathematics.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We'll move on to 7.05, which is the 25-26 high school computer science course proposals. Any questions, comments on those? Otherwise, would entertain a motion.
I'll move the Board of Education approve the presented standards of the official, district curriculum for the computer code.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. And then we'll move on to the last action item, which is 7.06, Applied Math 6 course proposal final read. Any questions or comments on that? Or would entertain a proposal?
I'll move the Board of Education approve the Applied Math 6 course for the middle school.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. No communications tonight. So at this time, the chair would move that we go into executive session at 6:39 p.m. to discuss students pursuant to the exception relating to the actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma, personnel matters pursuant to the exception of non-elected personnel under coma, and to discuss budget pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under coma for 15 minutes. The open meeting will resume in the boardroom at, somebody help me. 6:54. It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We are in executive session.
Pass those down, please.
I almost sent a text about.
We are back in open session after being in executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. We are adjourned.